Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Welcome to Paradise Academy. This is season 2 of our Kids on Bikes Welcome to Paradise, Michigan campaign. This is episode 19, Paradise Found Again. But not only is this our 19th episode of the second season, this is our 50th episode overall. So I thought that was worthy of a little bit of acknowledgement. That we've been playing long enough to hit 50 sessions. So that's pretty cool. We've had a lot of things happening. Most recently, Jeremy took the helm, figuratively and literally, in our story for a few sessions. So for the last month, I've been playing as a character. But we'll get to a recap in a few minutes to see where you all wound up and where we're going to pick up for tonight. Couple of quick announcements. Keeping it quick, look up in the upper right-hand corner up above M and Tamiko. You will see Terrain Treats Domain Pops, +1 to fun. Those are our domain dice for this game. Players earn those through subscriptions, resubscriptions, gift subs, cheering 500 bits, tipping $5. All of those will earn them domain pops. That can be used to add +1 to any dice roll for every domain pop that you use, or you can use 5 of them to make yourself or any other player roll on the D100 mystery grab bag table, full of all kinds of awesome things that can happen. Case in point, in our last session, we saw the results of the roll that I was made to do in my first session as a player. Paid off in a big way, had a big impact on the story. So sometimes they're mechanical adjustments, sometimes they are items. There are some really good things and some really bad things, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff in between. The only way to find out is to spend those domain pops, and of course, as that number dwindles, we're relying on you to increase that number for them. I was debating if I was going to do this now. I will, because it kind of falls into announcements a little bit, but I'll kind of put it in right before the game in futures ones. But we had a meeting recently, of course, for the audience's sake. We are now officially on 2nd edition of Kids on Bikes. Doesn't mean a whole lot for the game, other than there's a couple of new rules that you'll start to notice. A couple people chose to reskin their characters with new stats. We put a couple of new rules in place to accommodate that. And we also implemented re-implemented a rule that we were supposed to be following for the last 18 episodes and that I totally forgot about, and we all did. Gold stars. I bring this up because each of you have 1 gold star now. At the start of every session, you earn 1 gold star. You can have a maximum of 3 gold stars in any session. They refresh every session. So if you have 3 and you do not use them this session, you're back to 1 at the next session, because you always get 1 at the start of a session. You can earn additional gold stars by doing something spectacular in terms of success or defeat. Maybe the dice are just in your favor and you have a clutch dice roll. That might earn it for you if you really feed into the narrative. And I'm going to use my same rules that I use for inspiration, because I'm terrible at remembering to give that stuff out. But if the other players at the table or even the audience says, hey, they should get a gold star for that, you'll probably get that gold star. Well, the gold stars, what can you use them for? You can use your gold star to gain +2 to any dice roll. So instead of spending domain pops, you could just say, hey, I want to use my gold star and get a +2 to this roll. You can also narratively remove a consequence. So leading up to his werewolf transformation, Billy had a mental consequence for the rest of that day. There could have been a situation where you wanted to use your gold star to eliminate that consequence. You would have to narratively describe what it is. You know, maybe it's your feelings for Anne or something that caused you to be able to push past that barrier. You know, something along those lines. And finally, you can use your gold star to add to the story in a meaningful way. So a lot of times some people might ask, could there possibly be this thing, or could this have happened? A lot of times we might say, yeah, for a gold star, you can make that happen. I'm going to throw that out for this group because I know this is an amazing creative group. In certain situations, you could decide, and there's a precedence. Carrie and I witnessed this in a Call of Pulp Cthulhu game with Domain or Mythos dice. You could pull all your gold stars together if you're trying to make something like super outrageous happen. If multiple people cash in gold stars, there you go. So keep that in mind. You all have a gold star. Last couple announcements. One, audience. There's exclamation point audience is the chat command for that. We are adults playing in fictitious characters in fantastic settings. You won't hear graphic depictions of violence, intense dramatic roleplay, sensitive topics that include but are not limited to divorce, bullying, alcohol and substance use and abuse, and more. If this is something that doesn't appeal to you, we encourage you to take care of yourself and leave stream. But please know that we have safety tools in place at our table. We have had a session 0. We've had multiple session 0s. We have established lines and veils, and we have a safety tool system called the traffic light system that we use to make sure that everybody at the table is staying safe. We encourage you to use safety tools and session 0s at your own tables. There's a link that's in the chat right now for bit.ly/TTRPG safety toolkit, all one word. It's an amazing several different types of safety tools, the RPG checklist, consent checklist that we use, and things like that. Please do check that out. Use that in your own games. Finally, as we always like to remind you, because it is so very important that we remind you, you matter. Whether you believe it or not, it is true. The world is a better place with you in it. You might be struggling. Maybe you've had some struggles, or you know somebody who's struggling, or maybe you just need somebody to talk to, but you don't know where to start. All you have to do is type !help in the chat, or you can take a gander down at the bottom of the stream. It will periodically show up down there. You can check out the website findahelpline.com, or you can check out the growing list of resources at takethis.org. We encourage you to check out those websites, bookmark them, save them for yourself, save them for a friend, and remember, you matter. With that, I would like to welcome you all to Paradise Academy. It was supposed to be a night to remember. The big game, the homecoming game, followed by the homecoming dance, crowning of the homecoming king and queen, which all of that happened. In fact, Billy and Anne were crowned as homecoming king and queen. The homecoming court was dancing when the mirrored disco ball detonated in an electromagnetic pulse that had been planted there, causing everything to be plunged into darkness, but also causing the robot form that Laz was piloting to collapse. In fact, it was such a powerful electromagnetic pulse, it seemed to shatter the boundaries of reality, giving you all just a fraction of a glimpse into something you didn't understand. Making a hasty retreat, you all piled into Billy's family car with Carson driving, dragging the unconscious form of Laz with you, and insisting on knowing what you all were up to, Claire Spicer was along for the ride. In the attempt to get to safety, the believed safety of the Stapler house, along the route, a mysterious fog, a storm, the car crashed onto the deck through a portal of some kind onto the deck of a ship at sea in the midst of a storm. Although that sea turned out to be none other than the largest and coldest Great Lake, Lake Superior. The date, 1975, November. The ship, the Edmund Fitzgerald. Although it was not just the Edmund Fitzgerald that appeared to be sinking, it appeared to be a paranormal event of unrivaled just size and scope and spectacle, as what seemed to be hundreds, if not thousands, of spirits from all eras were seen in various states of peril, pirate ships, and what have you, while the ship you were on was breaking apart. Eventually you all made your way to the bridge, where you found the captain facing off against three familiar figures seeming to be made of water. The sisters, Tammy, Nikki, and Chrissy. And they had some sort of glass eye, which in the confusion of everything, Anne got a hold of. Jessica got a hold of. I keep saying Anne. We know it's Anne, but not everybody knows it's Jessica. Jessica Anne. I'm very inconsistent with what I call you. Regardless,
that's perfect.
Threatening just for them to tell you how to get out of here. They chose to be coy and try your patience, and you shattered the eye, which also shattered their physical presence. Unfortunately, the ship was already well beyond any sort of saving. You were able to telepathically, with Coop's abilities, communicate with any survivors aboard the ship and sort of wrangle them as you made your way to one of the green doors with the brass fittings, gathering up the unconscious Carson and Laz. Along the way, a mysterious necklace belonging to none other than Claire appeared, which allowed Claire and Rosie a brief 2 minutes in the past. But it was 2 minutes that allowed them to at least begin a reconciliation, if not have a full reconciliation. There was also something very familiar about the captain of the Edmund Fitzgerald. The sisters, before they were disincorporated, if you will, had some very stern words and perhaps a warning for Jessica, which we caught a glimpse of as they all headed out the door in three reflections of Jessica and the broken glass on the floor. Back at that green hatch, it was decided that Oak should be the one to turn the hatch, Oak being the one that has the connections to time. Oak turning that wheel on the hatch, feeling something that perhaps you don't fully understand, but you somehow intuitively knew that it was the right place to stop and open the door. Upon opening the door, we see a familiar looking beach, storm-tossed lakeshore with a ship on the waves, as the gathered survivors of the Edmund Fitzgerald await, and you begin ushering everyone through the door, everybody quickly escaping the sinking vessel as a surge, or rather surges of water, continue to spew out of this door and onto the beach, mixing with the rain and the thunder and the lightning. Everybody is piling out of this door until the last ones left are Billy and Jessica. Billy.
So I imagine I'm still in werewolf form at this moment.
You are.
All right. So I go to Jessica and look around and is like, we've been kind of walking hand in hand for a lot of this. We step up to the doorway, and just as we get there, I put my hand on her back and I say, "Anne, you go first," and push.
Oh, he knows.
Do you immediately follow?
And I immediately follow, yeah.
As Billy is the last one to step through, this is when the camera finally follows through, and we go from the chaos of the storm on Lake Superior and the ship breaking apart to the chaos of the storm on the beach. It shifts. The time of year is different. It's still cold rain, but not nearly as cold. There's no snow mixed with it. There's no mysterious green glowing mists. And as Billy, you step through, you all hear this sort of, above the sound of the wind and the waves and the rain, you hear this sort of metallic and a crashing of the door behind you. Anybody that glances back will see a familiar sight as you see the green door with brass handle at the base of the Candle Point Lighthouse. You see the ship that's being tossed out on the waves, still in its complete form, actually, at this point. But you recognize this ship. You recognize this storm, this lighthouse, this beach, this night. You are back in 1885. The very same night that you are about to appear inside the lighthouse. Anytime within the next hour. What would you all like to do? I'll add real quick. Claire is screaming.
Of course. On immediately realizing where and when we are, with the when being given away by the breaking up of the Evangeline out on the waves, something clicks in Coop's head, and he goes, "Oh no, we're gonna screw up the timeline! Everybody, we've gotta hide! We have to get away from the door!"
Rosie's a little slower on the uptake. She's like, "What do you mean? Why? What are you talking about?"
"Because we're coming! Real soon! We can't see ourselves!"
We're here.
"No! Past us!"
Back to the future. Yeah, right. If we see ourselves, there'll be a paradox, and then we might not exist. Yeah. Okay, so...
Whatever. Rosie's just going with the flow.
Yep.
Wouldn't the fact that we didn't see ourselves mean that we didn't see ourselves?
Well, right now, we're not... Right now, they're not here. But if they are here and we do see us, then that could be a real bad thing. So,
why?
Well, because like Back to the Future, it meant that it screwed up their existence because they screwed things up. But on the other hand, does Bill and Ted exist in our universe, or has that not happened
90s.
yet?
Is
that the 90s?
No, Bill and Ted was 80s.
Okay, let's assume for a moment Bill and Ted was 80s. But on the other hand, Bill and Ted talk to themselves like a lot.
Yeah, so, I mean... I don't know. I don't know how, I know how it works, but I don't know how it works. It's been a long night. I think we should hide, though.
Let's err on the side of fucking hiding, and then we'll figure it out later.
Okay.
And Rosie, is there, you said this is on the dunes, right? Or, on the dunes?
It's on the beach.
Is there, woods or buildings, or what's the closest thing that we could hide behind, in, etc.?
Oh, there is woods away from the beach.
There's... To reset a little further the scene, is you are on the same beach that you've spent a few times on, at the Paradise Beach, near the lighthouse, but instead of a parking lot and the city of Paradise, It's all heavy overgrowth trees, and there is cherry trees visible. In fact, to emphasize in as you're questioning your surroundings, there's a tremendous flash, like one of those multi-bursts of lightning, and you can see sort of the dark what's the word I'm looking for, when strobing effect of all the trees being blown in the wind, and the cherry trees, and there's followed almost immediately by an intense crash of thunder that you can feel in your bones. The storm is right overhead. That same flash of lightning is followed immediately by a single powerful bolt of lightning that strikes out in Lake Michigan, striking the tallest mast of the Evangeline. And you see as it hits, the sparks and the flames, and you see the sails catching fire, and that same mast begin to topple over as the Evangeline is in the early stages of breaking apart completely.
Honestly, I think Jessica has not been listening to any of the conversations that have been happening. She is staring deer in headlights, wide-eyed at Billy, and like speechless, just like staring from Billy to the others, back to Billy, like trying to this is just everything else. I can imagine if you're in Anne's head, everything else has this like kind of muffled whine to it, and she's just staring.
We're all Charlie Brown parents.
Yeah, exactly. I was getting ready to say that.
I imagine Rosie would have probably like made a break for it, but she gets about 5 steps and she turns around and sees. Did Billy make it through? Is he through?
Yeah,
everybody's through.
Rosie turns around and is like, "Hey, McGruff the crime dog, let's freaking go. We've gotta hide. We've gotta hide now, or we'll blow up the universe or something. Coop said so. Let's go."
In the flashing of the lightning, you also notice that there's about 15 men, the survivors of the Edmund Fitzgerald, also standing around on the beach, kind of looking around like in awe, because they do not know how they wound up on this beach after following the telepathic voice of a kid. But also, Rosie, as you turn to Billy and say, "We gotta go," the door to the lighthouse slams open.
Oh shit.
And sort of holding onto the door,
flagging,
you see yourself get almost blown out onto the beach. You see your familiar shirt, your pants, your shoes, and for just a moment you glimpse your own terrified face before somebody pulls other Rosie back in and the door to the lighthouse slams shut. And anybody else looking at the lighthouse sees this.
Oh,
Coop, I think you're right. We should go.
Rosie.
I will reach out to Jessica's hand to try and pull her along.
Trapdoor.
What are you talking about?
The lighthouse. The trapdoor.
Yeah. What do you want me to do about it?
Rather than going outside, what if we could go under? What if we could go under instead of out?
What? Under what?
Remember the first time we came to the lighthouse, there was a trap door there. We were able to go up and into like the reverse side of that. If that's still here in this timeline, we could go.
Yeah, that's how we got home before.
Yeah. So if it's still that timeline, that would work to get us back home.
Yeah, but
but right now we have
in the lighthouse with us.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just trying to think through
You're
solving things.
We should think about solving things over there. And Rosie like freaking runs. Rosie runs towards the brush.
I love
And we
it.
need to figure out what to do with our crew.
I need everybody to make a flight check as a blindingly brilliant bolt of lightning strikes in your midst.
Ooh.
Got a 5.
3.
I also have a 5.
6.
Should roll for Claire, I guess.
I guess.
I just grabbed a
That'll
D4.
She's
be a
your
seven.
That is not her
responsibility
flight.
now.
I mean, Claire was always my responsibility.
That's fair.
Claire got an 8.
Hey.
What did you get, Rosie?
I got a 3.
Okay. With Claire getting an 8, she is going to not really shield you, but she kind of helps you from, she almost instinctively reaches out to you to try to keep you from going down to the ground. What did you
Aw.
get, Miss Coop and
I got a 7.
6.
so Billy and Jessica, you are literally blown away from each other from the force of this impact of light. Everybody's sort of blown away. The only reason Rosie is sort of protected is because of Claire. Coop and Oak, you're able to shield yourself. Which one of you got the 7?
I got the 7.
Oak, right as you're shielding your eyes, you see that the lightning, you see where it struck. It hit Laz. Or rather, the Laz bot, if you will. Before you have to kind of shield yourself. Having the highest roll of everybody, you're the first one to kind of look back. And as you look back at where this lightning struck, we see that sort of the cinematically the camera sort of zooms in through the rain. We see that sort of high def rain running down your face. And remind me, does Oak wear glasses?
I believe he
Nope.
does. At this point,
I don't
believe
remember.
He does. If he did it, he does now.
We just see that light, see that camera go in until we see the reflection, and then it continues going through the reflection to where Laz's body is now lying in amongst charred sand and glass. And we see these spider web patterns going out around his body, and the body is convulsing, but the camera continues its movement into the Lazbot's eyes, which are open, and we move through green liquid until we pull away from real Laz's face in the back to tank in the sub-basement of the school. The entire back to tank is arcing with electricity in this whole field of where other teachers and townsfolk are being kept in these tanks. We see sparks going off all over the place. And in the tank, Laz's body sort of convulsing before Laz, you just suddenly... And your eyes just, like in Mortal Kombat, Raiden go...
Cool. Fucking
And
cool.
you... It's like you suddenly have the power back. You can see through Lazbot's eyes. And you see that through Lazbot's eyes, looking up into the stormy sky, lightning forking across, you're looking up at the Candle Point Lighthouse.
So I would just like to add that when this entire thing was playing out, Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue was playing.
Yes, yes.
Excellent.
I literally hit play on it the moment you started describing it,
It's
and it's
perfect.
amazing.
Perfect.
So, yeah. He's gonna do the classic, like pull a hand out in front of his face and kind of flex all of the digits, see how much control he actually has, and then he's gonna try to stand up.
As you kind of seeing still from your POV, kind of lift your hands, and as you're moving the fingers, you see electricity playing across your fingers. Zzz, zzz. You don't know how. You don't fully understand what it means. But you absorbed the full energy of the lightning bolt that struck. And you know that you are holding on to that energy until you choose to release it. Actually, I hadn't really thought about it, but yeah, it's kind of like the kinetic armor.
Oh my god.
So, for clarity's sake, at least for the purposes of this, you know you have absorbed a full impact of lightning, and it is your choice when and how you want to release that.
Oh my god.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, he's just like, well, this doesn't suck. And then he's gonna kind of like try to figure out where exactly he is and how to get out of here.
Would Oak have seen him? Like he could see him convulsing, right? But
You saw
would
him
Oak have
convulsing,
seen him?
and then you see that he's now animate and is kind of stands up in the midst of this small crater. As all around you, Laz, you are looking, I'd say about 15 feet away from you. You see Oak just staring at you, unblinking, and you start to see the others picking themselves up off the ground. Not far away from you is the unconscious body of Carson. You see all of your friends, 15 grizzled old sailors, and Claire,
In a pear tree. Okay.
and a werewolf.
Yeah,
Um,
you know.
Yeah. So normal is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah, everything's normal.
Okay, good. Whew. I was worried. No, so I think he kind of stares at like everyone for just like a long moment, kind of taking all of them kind of in a like a sweep. Hey, how are y'all doing?
Question. In Claire's effort of stopping, protecting, whatever, Rosie, did we stop? Did we like stop and turn back, or did we kind of keep going?
I think it was more of like she was shielding you, preventing you from, with what you rolled, that 3, you would have been knocked straight to the ground.
Okay.
You definitely stumbled, and she sort of kept you from falling to the ground, so yeah, you're stopped.
Okay. I would just be like looking at Laz, kind of open-mouthed, like stunned.
Hey, how are you doing? Everything okay?
Yeah, I thought you were at the bottom of the lake.
Oh, well, kinda. Like, I'm not like here. Like, this is not really me, and like, it's kind of like a robot I can control.
Oh, what happened at the dance then?
I don't know. Everything just kind of like went black.
Laz,
Well,
for you, including your conscious self in the sub basement in the back to tank, I would say maybe a half hour's gone by.
Where's the school? What happened?
I have no idea. And I'm looking kind of to. It's kind of funny. Typically, when like Rosie is looking for guidance, she would look to Jessica or she would look to Billy. But this time she like looks to Oak and she looks to Coop because like they have seemed to have a pretty good finger on the pulse with this time junk and just the what the fuck's going on type questions.
Okay. On that note, I think Oak has gone out of his like elated stupor, and has the first thing he does is wraps Laz in like the biggest tiny hug that has ever been given to a person.
Oh my God.
Even in the rain, Oak's hair starts
yeah.
to stand on end.
Like just begins static poofing next to him. Yeah,
adorable.
100%. You can see like on his face, in a way, he feels so guilty for what happened to you, right? So he's just like, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so sorry. I don't know. God, man.
It's like I just got knocked out.
Yeah.
Something. It wasn't long. I'm fine. Oh, it's cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you remember we were at prom and then or homecoming or whatever, and then things happened, and things started to really suck. So now we're here, I guess, in 1885 again.
Like again?
Yeah. I mean, just he literally like takes a hand and just like turns your head to face the horizon, and you see the like burning mast of the Fitzgerald.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What if we like Marty McFly this shit or something?
Yeah, Coop and I were just talking about that.
Oak, you are interrupted as a very sodden Claire steps up next to you, hair just kind of matted on her face as she's continuously trying to get her hair out of her eyes. It's like completely flat. Any sense of 80s up bangs and hairspray is just gone as she's wiping it out of her face, and she goes, "I'm sorry, did you say 1885?
The fuck is she doing here?
It's a long story. She kind of tagged along.
Are we in hell?
Shut up. And then, like, Rosie laughs despite herself. Like, she kind of just tagged along. It was a really weird situation. We were running through the building and everything was going belly up in the gym, and it just one thing led to another. She's here. We have to accept it.
No. And she's just, no. No. And she's just turns away from you all and just kind of walks towards the edge of the tree line. Just, what? No. And you see that she's pinching her arm at this point. Like,
I think we should go with her. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I agree. Tree line looks good.
Coop, make me a grit check, please.
Well, me?
Yep.
My grit
while
die
Laz is
got
doing
better.
all of this, Billy and Jessica were blown apart. I imagine that means Carson kind of like slumped over, but he's gonna run and check on Jessica first.
So with this font, I thought I got a 7, but it's really a 1.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
So, Coop, I'm trying to find the new book. Doesn't have, or I haven't found yet, the narrative results. So you got a 1 on what was an 8 DC.
Oh, well, I never would have made that.
Which means, well, lucky breaks. So that's the -9, -5. It's bad, but not as disaster. Short-term consequences. Coop, you involuntarily and immediately grab your head as your head and ears are filled with feedback. It sounds like you just took a microphone and placed it next to the speaker that's amplifying that microphone. As it is in your head. And covering your ears isn't helping. It's just, it's like the end of a song where the lead guitarist stands right in front of the amp and is just letting that feedback draw out, but it's not ending. For the next few minutes, you are basically incapacitated, and you now have a mental consequence. So this is what's happening as you're doing your, as you're checking on, I believe you were checking on Jessica.
Yes, I was gonna go make sure that she was okay. Because she's kind of been staring at a deer in headlights since we got back. I wonder why. So as I go over to her, is she all right? Is she getting up?
Jessica, Anne, as soon as she sees you, she like gets up and she has like a hand out towards you, like, and is like kind of like backing away almost.
Are you okay?
How long have you know? When did you know?
So I give a smile. I kind of figured it out on the boat. Is that okay?
She's not. Yeah.
What was that?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
M said
Rose.
she's up.
Oh no.
Apparently Jessica's trying to vie for control.
She's completely, Anna's completely speechless.
While
Frozen.
Billy goes to check on Jessica to make sure that she's okay, Coop falls to the ground, clutching his head, screaming, probably right next to screaming Claire. So, that's fun.
Kind of all one big screamy soup.
Got 2 of us.
Well, Claire's not screaming anymore. She's just, no, this can't, I gotta wake up at some point. And just literally has bruises appearing.
Incredible.
Well, Coop was going to go say some reassuring words to her, but that's gone.
Still here. Oh.
This is just a placeholder until M comes back.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Fucking Blair Warner on lock. Ready to go.
You're a wolf again, and nobody's scared of freaking out or nothing. He kind of like indicates to Billy.
I'm scared, but I'm maintaining control.
A random man who you've never seen before, looks to be about 30 years old, kind of leans over towards you, Laz, and just goes, for the record, most of us, we're pretty freaked out, but we're just having trouble figuring out which thing to focus on.
Laz had like not even fully registered that all of these guys were like close enough to really be a part of the conversation, and he kind of stares at this guy and then turns to whoever is near him.
I am near
Who the
him.
Fuck is no okay? Right to Rosie. Who the fuck is this guy?
He's part of the crew of the Edmund Fitzgerald. You know the song, "The Legend Lives On from the Chippewa Down." You know the song, the thing.
Yes, but
Yep. So we were
that
there.
wasn't like
We brought him
1885 though. Was it?
the song. It was.
1885?
It was before that, I think. Ow, fuck. Anyway, but Rosie just like looks and she's like, "Yeah, man. Yeah. We brought a bunch back with us, you know."
Okay. It's not the weirdest thing that I've heard.
No. Yeah, man. So it's all kind of weird soup and apparently Coop said that that we are here again and like we can't see us or it's gonna like break time or something.
Yeah,
I don't
like
understand
Back
it
to
if
the
I'm being-
Future.
I haven't seen fucking Back to the Future. Don't
haven't seen
tell
that movie?
anybody. Apparently everybody else here has.
Oh, maybe we could fix that.
And Rosie like kind of like one of her knees like buckles and she just pretends like, "Oh, there's a root or something that I tripped on." That would be great. Let's do that. But right now we've got to, get back to a time when there are movies.
Oh,
It's a great first step.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
Hey, so we've been talking, and we got to get out of this storm. You kids can't just stand here on the beach. And I mean, are you all right, man? You like got struck by lightning.
It's kind of like it's kind of a long story. But yeah, I think I'm okay. He like shows his hand with like the electricity on his fingers.
Cool.
I think Game's back.
We think the best thing is just to get off this beach, maybe get into the shelter of the trees, see if we can't find some kind of hollow or something.
Yeah.
And you can see some of the guys. Look, you kids got your own thing going on. Don't get me wrong, we're super grateful for what you did, but I don't know what all this is. And we can't deal with the storm and with all this stuff right now. So if you want to follow us, you come with us. Kind of hope you do, but we got to look out for ourselves at this point.
I say we go with them. We should stick together until we can all figure all this shit out. Think?
In another crash of lightning, you see that the waves are continuing to rock over the Evangeline, and with the huge wave, the entire ship, you watch as it capsizes, and you see pieces of it breaking apart. You know that it's not going to be much longer, and the pieces of the Evangeline and the survivors are going to start washing up on shore. Anne, I want to go back, or Jessica, Anne, I would like to go back to you. You were in the process of responding to Billy when you were frozen speechless.
Yeah, I think either Jessica or Anne took over for a second there.
That's what we said.
That's what we said.
Jessica's trying to get through.
Oh God.
Sorry, I had lost my. Anne was. Oh,
When did you
I
know?
think-
How did you know?
Yeah, I think and also is that does anyone else know?
I don't know if anyone else suspects, but I haven't told anyone else. I didn't have any intention of telling anyone else until I talked to you and saw what your opinion was. If you want to keep it a secret, we can keep it a secret.
see Anne just kind of like narrow her eyes at Billy. You're like, you're not freaking out, is what she says.
Well, honestly, part of me, and this is the first time, and I hold up my, my massive, clawed hands, and this is the first time that I've ever had control of this, but I'm afraid of it. And I know that if something were to go wrong, you're strong enough to protect everybody else.
Anne nods her head. But like, you thought that I was Jessica. You went to prom with Jessica, she says, and you can see like her eyes are welling with tears at that.
Are you still backing up or trying to like keep me away?
She's not backing up, but she's like, she has stopped backing up. She has lowered her hand. She is looking at you now, just like, yeah.
So he would take a step forward. You were the one to show an interest when you were both around. And after this iteration started, it doesn't matter whether you're Jessica or Anne, the person that I've spent time with, that I've cared for and is cared for me, is you. I'll call you whatever name you want, as long as you still want this to continue.
Is this whole thing happening like just out in the rain?
Yes.
Like they're just pouring rain on them? Like,
yeah.
80...
There's actually, as Billy says this, Jessica, there's this moment where there's another flash of lightning. And in that flash of lightning, everything just sort of slows down. And the camera's sort of panning around you, Jessica. And in that flash of lightning, the raindrops slow down.
Ooh.
And in hundreds of raindrops, you see your reflection.
Wow. Fuck, she can't escape it.
Hundreds of reflections, and you know that every one of them is Jessica. It's kind of like that scene in The Matrix when Neo meets the architect, and there's all that wall of monitors, and there's all these versions of Neo, and some of them are like, "Wah!" and some of them are like banging on the glass, some of them are just staring. This is what's happening with all these reflections of Jessica. The camera continues to pan around in this sort of slow motion Zack Schneider shot until we're moving around to your POV, sort of an over the shoulder, looking at Billy and past Billy. And as the slow motion ramps back up to normal speed, the lightning, and in one final flash, you see where the crew of the Edmund Fitzgerald has moved into the tree line. As the last one kind of gives a look back at all of you, and they disappear into the trees, there's another flash of lightning, and you see Jessica standing there.
In the tree line?
In the tree line.
God, that's terrifying, dude.
And this all happens in an instant where Billy says this, you know, whatever you want me to call you, whichever one, that's what I'll do.
I imagine she is like, so she looks to you, Billy, like with like this, like you can see the smile starting across her face, and she looks just like genuinely just engrossed in your words and what you're saying, and you see the smile, and I imagine that you see her gaze shift to I imagine that Anne is facing the tree line and Billy is facing her, and you see Anne's gaze shift behind you, Billy, and that smile slowly begins to drop, to fall away. Is Jessica doing anything? Are they about to...
Oh my god.
I imagine if Billy's eyes follow Jessica's line of sight and kind of look over your shoulder...
He would turn.
There's nobody there.
What?
And looking again,
What
kind of in a blink, Jessica, there's nobody there.
You see Anne, like, blink a couple of times, and she just runs towards Billy and just, like, almost, like, tackles into him, but, like, in, like, a really tight hug. Like, just, like, holding him, like, legs, like, legs up, like, knees up, you know? Like, the whole, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, we get it.
So you basically jump into his arms.
Yeah.
Oh.
To try and, like... Yeah, Anne runs in and she just says, thank you.
I've got you.
I gotta ask if anybody's paying any attention to Coop, who this entire time has been on his knees.
I think Oak would. I don't think Oak would have left the tree line with the crew just yet, because he's still paying attention to Laz. He's still paying attention to all the kids that are around. So he's trying to, like, make sure that Billy and Jessica also make it back to, like, the tree line, so he would be able to look over Coop. And looking at Coop being in that state, Oak will just come over and, like, console him to the best of his ability, because he's not
Just-
like, he doesn't know.
Hold his head and keep it from shaking around too much, like he's having a seizure.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Like,
You're just on seizure patrol for now.
Treating him like seizure triage. Exactly. Yeah.
As you do that, Oak, you sort of crouch down next to Coop. All of you hear another sound. It sort of blends in with the wind. So you hear the sound, and then the wind rises and seems to kind of blend in, and then the sound lingers a little bit longer, just enough so you're not sure what it is you're hearing. But at the risk of one getting noise gated trying to do this, I will simply describe that what you hear is akin to the T-Rex in Jurassic Park, or the Godzilla roar, as you hear a tremendous roaring sound.
Oh my god!
Is it my boy?
You can't hear anything,
I
Coop,
know.
except
Let
for
me
feedback.
go be excited.
Yeah. By this point,
So once Anne is calmed down a moment, I imagine, she lets me put her back down, and then I would go and pick up Carson and kind of urge everybody to get towards the tree line.
Billy, make me a grit check, please. This is not a pass or fail. This is a tiered check.
Nice.
All right, so grit check in this one.
For those, as a reminder, and for the audience, a tiered check is not a pass or fail. It's just the better you roll, the more you know or sense.
Did I
or
just see 2 dice
perceive.
rolls there? Dad?
Yeah, that was an explosion, or was it lucky break? Is it what it's called now?
Lucky
Yep, lucky break.
So that would be a 13, sir.
You know the combination of the storm completely obscuring the sky and the fact that in whatever date it is right now, though you can't see it, there's no full moon. Yet your transformation seems to be tied to the full moon of where you left. What you sort of instinctively know, but also from your training with your family members, is that at a certain point, it was told to you that as you get older and you learn more, it was part of why you were training, is that you will be able to control your transformations, even to the point that at some point you could transform anytime you wanted to. You will always transform at the full moon. There's nothing you can do about that. But that also means 2 things that are important right now. 1, you can choose to transform back at any point now. 2, you will transform by morning back to your human self.
Right. Okay. Well, right now I'm carrying Carson around, so I'd rather keep the strength and let Oak take care of the brains.
Coop, you're starting to recover from the immediate shock of what happened. There's a bit of a ringing in your ear, which will continue. That's going to be sort of the effect of your mental consequence. But you're sort of... This only lasted for a few moments. It went away and you find Coop. I did it. Dang it. You find Oak.
Hey!
Free bingo space.
Got it.
And you know what's sad is I missed it entirely.
As soon as I said it, I knew what I did. You sense Oak sort of comforting you.
Oak? What happened?
No, it's okay. It's okay. We got to the tree line, and all of a sudden, you started having really bad headaches. You all right? You okay?
Well, my head still hurts, but not like it did. It's clearing up. It's getting better. And Coop, I'm sparing you all. Coop's shouting. Like
Oh. He's like, oh, okay. Okay. Take it down. You're right here. Okay.
It's like that scene in Saving Private Ryan when they go to talk to that guy and they're like, he can't hear. He took a grenade and can't hear out of his left ear. I can't hear you very well. I took a grenade.
Yep. Pretty much that.
I'm just waiting for the others, and then we'll get us to safety, okay?
Yeah, okay. Go to the trees. Where did the crew go?
They went back through the tree line, right? Like they're going back.
The crew's gone.
Like, they're gone. Town, whatever.
Well, there is no town in
There is no
1885.
Oh yeah, they're just out in the woods somewhere.
Yeah, they're just gonna go hang out at Maniac.
Yeah. They're like, listen, we're gonna go get some pizza if you guys want to
Hey
come.
guys, we're
We'll
gonna
be at
go
Maniacs for a couple hours.
We're gonna go.
1885 Maniacs.
We're
So,
gonna make a wood-fired pizza stove in the middle of the
so
forest.
Jake, just to make sure that I've got this correct, I was mid-fit when the James sound happened, right? Or sorry,
Yeah,
the
you
mysterious
did not hear.
sound.
You did not hear the roar.
Oh.
Oak would have heard the roar though.
Yeah, everybody else heard
Yeah.
it. Also, about this point, still sodden, but no longer, just like she's given up on wiping the hair out of her face or even trying anything. Claire just comes walking back. All right, fine. I'm just the best thing I can do is just whatever's going on, I'm just gonna go with it. I don't know why everybody's going into the woods when there's a perfectly fine lighthouse right over here, and she's walking towards the door.
Because no, Claire, stop.
What?
And
It's clearly dry.
No. We're in there.
What?
It's hard to explain. It's one of those things. We've been here once already, and we're in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right now.
Okay. Yep. Of course.
Okay. Yeah. So we can't
Sure.
go in. Because if we
Sure.
see us,
Of course, the perfectly
gonna-
dry, safe lighthouse, we can't go in.
no, off limits, verboten. So we should go somewhere else and hide.
So we basically have to wait for ourselves to leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
So you're all in there. We can't go in the lighthouse.
I mean, you can do whatever.
You're
the
still
hell
a
you
werewolf.
Want, but
You're some kind of robot. I still don't know what your deal is, looking at you, Jessica. And I don't know if anybody's noticed, but I just thought I would mention that there's a ship that's about to crash into the shore.
Yep.
Yeah, it's full
There's
of
a bunch of
pirates
people
and
gonna come
stuff.
out of it.
Of course, you know about that too. Oh, yeah.
Like,
All right.
like we said, we were here before.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that reminds me, we gotta bury the juicy fruit this time. We didn't get a chance. Do you have any juicy fruit, Claire?
Let me see. Compact
She
lipstick,
has-
wild cherry
If
lip gloss,
she doesn't, she's got
wallet
tampons.
with
do
Daddy's
that.
credit
Claire,
card.
listen, we gotta bury a
Hold on,
Kotex.
I'm
That'll
checking.
last just as long.
I'm checking wallet with Daddy's credit card, at least $100 in cash, pepper spray, tampons, pads, hairbrush, scrunchies, hair clip. Big Red. She has Big Red gum.
You know what? It's the
She
same
goes-
kind. It's the
she
same
goes, "You know-
brand.
Yeah, I mean, and she pulls her little clutch purse thing out that she had for the dance, and she goes, I never liked juicy fruit. And she holds up one of those 17 stick packs of Big Red that's about half
Awesome.
full.
Are we near the lighthouse?
I mean, she was going for the door.
Rosie
So-
would pick a spot like near the stairs, kind of like almost like dig down like under the stairs almost, and like put it down in there and bury it. Be like, okay, now we need to get
So
out of here.
happy.
Rosie is. She looks happy for the first time in
In
months.
this iteration, it's the Big Red conspiracy, not the juicy fruit conspiracy.
It's like Bizarro Superman. That's great. Oh my god. So what do we think? We wait for us to fall asleep or something, and then go in and sneak down through the trapdoor?
At some point, aren't we all upstairs?
I don't know, man. I forget. A lot's happened since then.
Yeah. At a certain point, we
I mean,
would
I
have all
was
gone.
Shredder, so
At a certain point, oh, yep, because you hit me in the face when you came out the
Look.
comic book.
oh,
Look, I forgave you for that, dude. Look, I'm just trying to put things in order. Punched me in the face, and then we went upstairs and talked to Hines, and that was weird.
Oh, and there was Coco.
Yeah, Swiss Miss in 1885.
Well, we
isn't
know
that
all about that now, don't we?
Isn't that because he's just brought it back through the trapdoor?
He's
Yeah.
he's a time guy. He's not a witch, but remember, he's a time guy. So like, he probably brought it back himself.
Yeah.
So are we upstairs now? Claire, you gotta go look in the window.
The
I'll
windows
boost you
are
up.
all the way
Like,
up there.
Is the window like 2 people high off the ground?
Yeah, I think we established that there were windows partway up,
Yeah.
and there was one at the stairs, which would have been like somebody would have to prop her up.
Boost. I'll help. That way, if they
Like-
see you, it's not gonna ruin everything because they, it's not like us.
Why don't
seeing
we
us.
Why don't we just wait it out in the trees?
Well, wait for what?
Well, eventually we're going to come out of the tower, talk to the people, go back in the tower, go back through the trapdoor when Heinz says it's okay. And once we're gone, then we can go.
Look, I'm
'Cause
not
I wanna
suggesting
leave.
anything, but if we hide out in the trees, you'll have the opportunity to shake down Christina if you want one, because she comes and gets us cherries, remember?
Oh. Yeah. Never mind. I like.
I'm not
Christina.
saying we should jump a bitch, but no, I'm kidding.
I'm saying
would
we should
never
jump a bitch.
And everything Coop says is being shouted.
I'm not saying we
I'm
should.
I'm not saying we should attack other people, but
I'm just saying maybe it's an option.
I think we should do that. I like that plan.
Do you really think that's a wise idea? Like, she's going to be around other people, and these are the founding members of Paradise. Like,
I'm not gonna. Fine. I just want to see them. I just want to know where they're at. I feel safer when I know where they're at. You know.
So I'll turn to Claire, and just again, werewolf. So I'll be like, so what is the weirdest of all of this to you?
Said the werewolf, holding an unconscious man over his shoulders. It's really hard for me to pick the weirdest. It's all.
Alphabetical might help.
I'm not at this point. I'm not entirely sure that I'm awake.
So you have to understand, like, our first couple of days in Paradise, there were no kids. We got shrinking bikes that we could put in our backpacks.
Mhm.
We climbed down into a grave that led a tunnel into the church.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Talked to a priest, and then eventually wound up here on this beach and traveled back in time 100 years.
Yep, that all makes sense so far. Not.
So
Oak is actively looking for nosebleeds, like signs of
Psych.
aneurysm, like, because just checking to see if Claire is like actively falling apart right now, because this is a lot of information for someone who has not been around our.
She kind of turns to you, Rosie. Does this have anything to do with why I suddenly know that your mom is the principal, but also your mom died?
Yeah, it's all kind of in the same soup.
And that has to do with why he's pointing at Billy.
Yep.
And we're.
Yep.
And is that. And looks at you, Jessica. Is that why there's two of you?
There's not two of her. What are you talking about?
Huh?
At this
She
point, I'm
points at
kind
the
of like
wood line.
covering.
She points right at the wood line.
Oh God! Oh no! At this point, I was like covering because I'm like, I don't want to. I don't know how much we're telling Claire.
As soon as she
But,
says,
oh,
she
shit.
says, you say that, she just right there, and she points at the wood line.
I look.
Oh, I look
So
too.
does Anne.
Everybody
Coop-
looks, and they're
Coop goes-
standing at the edge of the woods, wearing the same outfit as Anne, is Jessica. And that's where we're
Uh-oh.
going to take our break.
Oh,
It's Anne, and she looks pissed.
she looks. Which one of you is real?
Oh, perfect.
Wow.
All right. There's a lot
Incredible.
happening on this little beach in a very short
Yeah,
period
Jesus
of time.
Christ, yeah. That was a very compressed, like 5 minutes game time. Like,
Yeah. All right.
Wow.
We're gonna go ahead and take about a 10-minute break. We'll see you on the other side. And we're back.
So, can we see what kind of expression Jessica has on her face?
Looking at Jessica, the only light seems to be primarily coming from the flashes of lightning, but I envision this whole scene as sort of like in a movie where you have that mysterious light source, you know, that's everything's got that sort of blueness to it. So it's not pitch dark out here, but she looks lost and confused.
Okay. Like if she was looking with like murder in her eyes, not that it would matter because she can go through things, but I would have stepped in the way. But if she looks confused, that's very, very different. Like, is she looking around or is she like looking at us?
She's kind of looking at all of you, and she keeps glancing up at the lighthouse.
Rosie would put her hand on Anne's shoulder and be like, "Don't worry, Jess, it'll be okay."
So I would reach out for Anne's hand and say we should talk to her.
Anne's like, no. No, Anne, Jessica, when we were like last here, Jessica wasn't here or
So-
at the lighthouse.
So in the previous journey here, Jessica was with all of you when you went through the trapdoor in 1985 and appeared in this timeline. But looking around, once everybody was in the lighthouse, they realized Jessica wasn't there, but a white cat was there that had the name tag that said Jessica.
Whoa.
Hey, how did I get out here? And why are all of you out here too? Where are we?
That is like not our that's not who we think it is.
Wait,
That's not Anne?
and her eyes get wide. What are you doing here? How are you here?
Who are you asking?
And she's looking right at Anne as she's walking towards you.
Are y'all not like cool with each other or whatever?
We should like go somewhere else right now. I mean, we don't want the world to explode or whatever Oak was saying, right? And like
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but also I don't know how that applies to. I'm actively getting pulled probably by by Anne or something. Like as I'm trying to explain this, I'm actively getting pulled away. Like I don't know if that's how that works because like y'all are technically like where did.
Well, right, the group thinks that they're both Jessica.
Right. How is
I am under
that's
the
true,
impression
right.
that the girl in the far away is Anne.
Is Anne.
Anne, right.
I think the girl with us is Jessica.
Right.
It
There's
seems
gonna
that
be
Billy
some 4D
knows the
chess
opposite is
going
true.
Yeah,
on.
this is
yeah.
It could also be whoever the third personality is.
Oh, that's true.
Shut
That's
the
true.
fuck up, Ted.
Too many.
5D chess.
But also, all of us,
so
all
many
of us
hands.
remember at some point seeing Jessica and Anne together at the same time.
Yeah, because in the first
iteration.
iteration,
Right.
there were two.
And like even on the same side, fighting together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Change the name of this episode. Oops, all Anns.
Oops, all hands. You're like, oh yeah, let's get out of here.
Wait,
What if she needs help?
She's fine. She'll be fine. She's me.
I don't understand what's happening.
Come on. You can come with us. Like,
We went through the trapdoor in the lighthouse, and now we're here. Why are we here? And
What is the last thing you remember?
we were in the lighthouse, and we went through a trapdoor, and everything started to turn upside down, and then I woke up a few minutes ago lying in the grass over there, and she points towards the wood line.
there is a lot that has happened since then. I think
We need to like
God.
get her with us, previous us.
Yeah. And Rosie would step towards who she thinks is Anne and be like, you should go to the lighthouse right now. We are in the lighthouse right now.
But what about her? She points at
Well, you
Anne.
can't tell them that you saw us. There's a lot has happened in between where you are and what we've done. And we don't want to mess with the time any more than it's already been messed up.
And you are...
That's
You're a werewolf. She has no idea who
Yeah,
you
right.
are.
Oh yeah,
McGruff.
hi. That is Billy. I don't know how much you knew about that, but that's Billy. So yeah.
Ew.
Thing. It's really him, all right.
Yep.
But why are you with her? Are you me?
Listen.
Yeah, I'm you.
And Rosie would go up and take this other one like by the shoulders and be like,
This
listen. The other one. And be like, listen.
As you go to grab
and
her shoulders, your
have
hands
to-
pass through her. Don't touch me. And she
Wait a minute.
pushes you feel her as she pushes you away.
Rosie like stumbles back a few steps and like, wait a minute. Jessica can phase through things. And
What?
Rosie like turns back.
What are you
to-
talking about? She seems like she doesn't seem to have noticed what just happened.
Look, she doesn't know because we haven't learned it yet.
But Rosie all the same turns back to the person with us. And it's just like, can you phase through things?
Yeah.
Do it then. Do it.
This is stupid. Just tell her to go back.
Rosie
To-
walks up to the girl that is with us and like be like, phase through things, right? You can phase through things. Here
But
it comes.
Things have been a little screwy
It's
since
coming.
things have been a
And
little.
Rosie like goes to
Can
hit her.
Anne please try and hold Rosie's arm and like grip it really tightly? I'm
I
so
think-
sorry, Rosie.
I think this is going to be a contested. This is going to be. I think this is going to be
Fair
Braun
warning,
versus
I
Braun.
bet I was as fair as I could have been.
I think
What?
this is going to be Braun versus Braun.
Oh great.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you make it and you give her a black eye, we will have gone full circle back to the interviews.
I got a
I-
14.
I'm going to say too that this is we never really get into this too much, but this is a snap decision. which I
So
guess
we can't just take the half.
you can't just take the half.
Shit. I got a I got a 12. Wait, can I add pops? Fuck it. I'll add 3.
You
I
use your
mean-
gold star.
Technically speaking, you guys could add pops until whoever wins whatever wants to win.
I'll give you my star.
Because
I guess you could do that. So say in snap decisions by the rules with adversity tokens, you can't give anybody any help.
We'll just go. I got a 12. I'll go straight up. No pops.
So
That's
in
fair.
this case, you're the defender, and you narrate how this plays out.
So what I imagine is Rosie goes to hit Anne. And just at the very last second, Anne grabs Rosie's wrist. And I think because it's very high emotion, high tension, I think Anne grips Rosie a little harder than what she had intended.
Mm-hmm.
I would add to that, Rosie, didn't you dislocate your shoulder on the ship?
Yeah.
It's probably that hand.
Wouldn't that have healed by now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's
but
probably-
I mean, you dislocate your shoulder, that's gonna hurt for a little while.
I think actually, not to be super nitpicky, but I did establish that it was my left collarbone, and this is my right arm because Rosie's right-handed. So anyway, crack, and Rosie just like her eyes like kind of like shoot wide, and she has that like feeling like you get your wind knocked out because it hurts so much. And then she just kind of like, and at the same time, you can't really tell if it's this shock or if it's like Rosie looks a little like heartbroken. And
You see Anne too's eyes like widen, I think similar to Rosie's, like a similar look of just like shock, as almost, I imagine it happened so quickly, that crack that Rosie felt on her wrist before Anne immediately lets go.
Mm-hmm. And then Rosie like crumples kind of like to her knees and she's like gripping her arm, and she's just like, and
Are
she
you okay?
manages to like look up, and she's like, that's not Jessica.
What do you mean that's not? What
That's
the fuck's she
Anne.
talking about?
Look, do we have time for this now?
You see Anne is like slowly backing away. Like, you don't understand. I just wanted what you all had. I just wanted to live my life. Not alone.
Please stay.
You see, like Anne is barely looking at Billy, I think, at this point. She's looking to Coop, Oak, Laz, Rosie. She's looking at their expressions.
I think Oak in this moment is trying to be like conflict resolution kid. Like he sees this and he's like, "Oh shit, no. This
Everybody
is
settle
not
down.
happening." I think he'll interpose himself between you and Rosie in this moment, and he'll like actually, if you'll allow it, he'll grab Anne's hands and he's like, "Listen, okay, you don't have to run. Okay, it is okay. I kind of sort of thought that, but I didn't get a chance to like talk to Billy or anything. But it's okay that you're here, and I understand. But we don't need to harm each other to do that, okay?"
It was an accident. I didn't mean to.
I know you did. I
Anne.
I know, but I don't think she intends to hurt us either. And he like points back to Jessica. So can we all just kind of work together like before?
But that's not Jessica. That's not our Jessica.
Okay.
Listen, oh my god.
She needs to get back to the previous us.
Right. Okay. Okay. And for a moment, he takes a second to think about what to do in this chaotic scene.
I'm in the fucking comic book, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not here, so I can't run into myself. I'll take her down to the lighthouse and make sure that she gets through the door, and then we can get on with whatever the fuck we're gonna do is.
Why doesn't Claire just do it? Claire's really, really not here. I mean, we knew you were in the comic book. It would be a hell of a thing if you just fucking showed up.
Laz will look at Claire. Well, there's not a committee to vote on it, but what do you think?
You want me to do what?
Take Jessica to the lighthouse.
You were just
This
talking
one.
about
Down
wanting
there.
to go there anyways. Now you can't say anything?
No, I just. Which one's Jessica?
That one.
Ow.
Pointing back toward the beach.
Point towards the one not in the
Yeah.
the big frilly
Yeah.
homecoming dress.
That one.
Confused
No.
one.
Which? I mean, okay, so
Hmm?
that one's Jessica.
Claire, listen. And
Which
Rosie
one?
kind of makes her way to her feet and she just says,
"No, hold,
"This is
hold. That's Jessica." And that's not Jessica?
No, it's not."
Then who's that?
You're
She
fucking
points to the
kidding me.
wood line. And standing at the wood line next to a tree is Jessica,
Fuck.
wearing a silken blue dress.
Reggie.
God, it's like that Spider-Man meme.
Okay. Okay.
There's a spawn point nearby. We gotta go destroy them.
It's like Gauntlet Legends. We have to
Oak-
destroy the
Oak,
small
like-
house.
Oak looks at the triangulation of the three Jessicas, and it's just he just falls on his knees next to Rosie, and is just like, you know what? At this point, I give up. I give up because there's not. What can I do? I'm trying.
The new
They're multiplying.
Rosie would
How
stand up and look at Claire and just be like, "Listen, this is the easiest thing we've asked you to do since this whole debacle started. You need to take that girl to the lighthouse now."
How does this other Jessica look?
Yeah, is she looking
the new
pissed off?
Jessica takes a step forward and says, "What is?" And as she opens her mouth, water spills out of her mouth.
Oh God!
And she takes another step forward, and she kind of stumbles a bit. And you watch as she looks down, and her foot appears to be stuck in the sand. And she's like, "I want to," and she basically just dissolves, just like you saw the witches do when the eye was shattered. She dissolves into water on the beach.
Mm-mm. Oh my God, it's a premonition.
As
Claire, take
as
that
you're
girl,
watching
take that-
her hit the beach, you see another Jessica stumbling out of the tree line. It puts its hand on a tree, and its hand starts to phase into the tree, and it looks up, and this is starting to happen. Now you see two Jessicas, three Jessicas, and they're trying to get out of the wood line and come towards all of you, and they get any more than a few. Chad, that got me.
Chad is chatting.
Night of the Living Jessica's got me. Yeah, they're
Great.
coming out
Be
of the
very
tree line.
afraid.
They're stumbling towards you, and each one is almost immediately dissolving like raindrops splattering against the surface of the beach.
Yeah, we
if
need
she
to
will
go.
allow it, I will go to Anne and take her hand in mine and give her whatever kind of support she needs.
We gotta go. I think we go back to the lighthouse. I think we go back to the lighthouse now, and just hope to
We-
God
we-
that
we
we're
think
already
enough
up in
time
the
has
upstairs
passed?
with Heinz.
Maybe.
What?
Yeah. We think enough
Yeah.
time might have passed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
we
so.
chance
I
it.
think this is
Time to go.
Mhm.
We
Let's
gotta
go.
go.
Let's go.
Get out
Mhm.
of the woods. We've run.
And Last just
I
says,
run.
how many of you are there? Like as they're running.
So you guys are all turning instead to go to the lighthouse.
Back to the lighthouse, I think.
As you're running towards the lighthouse, there's now dozens of water Jessicas that are just as one comes out, another one comes right behind it, and they're just.
Oh my god! It's like World War Z. Fuck this. We
And,
gotta go. They're like climbing on top of each other.
Wouldn't it be World War J?
The question I have right now is who gets to the lighthouse door first?
I think we should roll for it. I think we should roll a flight.
I'm down for that. I would like M to roll for Jessica as well.
Oh Christ!
Ooh.
Let's see, what's Claire's flight? D12.
Yeah, M, we need you to make 50
Jack.
rolls and let us know what each of them are.
Yeah, I need you to roll for each one of the Jessicas. Just roll
Who's
a
gonna win?
fistful of
Individually.
D12s. Or D whatevers. Fistful of dice. Alright, we got a 6 for Rosie,
Aw,
a
Jeremy.
2 for Billy,
Right?
a 6
perfect.
for
I would hold your hand, but
Laz,
it's broken.
a
so.
14 for Anne,
Yeah.
and
Anne.
for Jessica.
Same. So that is. Oh my goodness. These are some exploding dice today. 12.
You all watch as you make this decision. Anne moves with precision and speed, almost as if dragged by her. Jessica follows, and you get to the door to the lighthouse, and you rip it open, and inside you see the bottom of the lighthouse. You see the stairs that lead up and sort of disappear around a curve. You see that window that's right there. You see immediately to your right in the corner the stack. There's this stack of like crates and barrels with some rope on it and all that, that's sort of tucked up against where what would be under the stairs. There's nobody in this lower part of the lighthouse
Whew.
except for a white cat.
Kill it.
And Jessica, Anne, as you rip the door open, do you go in? You go in, and as the rest of you are rushing towards it, Jessica tries to pass through the doorway, and it's like there's an invisible barrier. What is happening? And some of you like move right past her, and you're able to get inside. She's just banging on
Rosie
this.
would turn back and she'd be like, "You have to just wait. We're upstairs. We're gonna be coming down any minute."
Does everybody go around Jessica to the inside?
I'm inside now. Yeah.
Yeah, same.
As you're all inside and you see Jessica banging on the invisible barrier, you watch as behind her a multitude of watery Jessicas are gaining on her. She's, come on! And she's
Yes!
looking right at you, Anne. You gotta let me in.
This, I imagine, is giving Anne flashbacks to when her and Jessica were in the mirror. The first time when Anne had pushed Jessica back into the mirror, forcing her into the other realm. I can imagine that it looked very much the same. That desperate banging against the glass. Same face, same desperation. And Anne, again, reacts the same way of just shaking her head, backing away.
And you gotta let her in.
Doing. Try to reach your hand out and get hers and pull her through like Ozma.
Rosie would try, and I'm sure she fails.
Jessica is at this point with Anne backing away. Jessica stopped pounding and actually takes a step backwards. And she looks genuinely hurt.
Oof.
And then a burst of wind catches the door and slams it.
Oh.
And you are all in the base of the lighthouse.
Laz is already moving over to the chest on the side, the footlocker.
Yeah.
I would just draw attention to whoever's watching that door as it slams shut. You see next to it that graffiti that's written on the wall that says, "Stay out of the light."
Oh, man.
Laz, you run over to the corner where all the crates and the barrels and the rope and everything were, just like before, it's a facade. It's all hooked together. What are you doing?
I think he's kind of got like a cautious eye, like cast towards the staircase that leads up, just to kind of make sure that nobody's coming yet. And he's going to kind of motion to everybody, "We got to go. We got to get out of here."
Rosie doesn't want to go until fucking Anne goes in front of her. I don't want to have her behind me.
So Billy would be with Anne, whether she's sitting there looking, at the closed door, or if she's moving to Laz, whatever direction she decides to go.
Yeah, I mean, Anne won't go in first, but she'll go in after the first person goes.
So, what did you open the facade, Laz? Is that what you did?
Laz, yeah, he's going to be working on that for sure.
Okay. So, yeah, at this point, do you remember how to open it? If you don't, you can make a brains check.
I do.
As you're
as a player
fiddling around with it. I would like Coop, Oak, Rosie, and Billy to make brains checks as well.
Oh.
Okay.
This is a tiered check. I want to see who remembers something.
If I use my gold star, does it count as a lucky break?
If you use your gold star, you get a +2.
A +2.
Oh,
well,
you
then
mean
I will use it.
You mean if you
Yeah.
add +2 to it, and no, the only way to get a lucky break is actually to roll the number.
Actually
on your
rolling
dice.
it. Okay, I just figured I'd ask.
That's
I got
true.
a
That's
9.
true without gold stars. That's just true of the rules.
9.
9. Coop.
3.
Rosie, as Laz is fiddling around trying to remember how this thing works, and you see him actually remember that the way that it opened before was when you jumped up and sat on the edge of one of the crates. Laz kind of leans up and puts his weight down, and that pops the latch, and the whole facade sort of swings on its hinges. You remember a long time ago when you were here the first time, but in this current timeline, what could have been just moments ago. The mysterious figure Hines came down the stairs, told you all not to go outside, and also told you that you could not go through the trapdoor portal while you were wet. And you are all soaking wet.
Wait. Well,
What's up?
we can't go through. Remember, Heinz said he said we We couldn't go through if we were wet, if our clothes were wet.
We've
gonna
already
rip
gone through lots of portals wet.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess.
This might sound crazy, but I think Heinz lied to us.
Oak.
Yeah.
Stick with me here.
Oh.
He might be less than honest.
Oak, you don't know how to explain this.
Mm-hmm.
But you, for some reason, you're reminded of when Dr. K told you in the sub-basement to think about solutions. That it was sort of like stringing computers together because you were the same person, that just you thinking about it would help him to think about things, implying there's this connection to your other self. So
Yeah.
With that in mind, you're reminded of that as somehow you know what Rosie's talking about. You remember Heinz saying, don't go through the trapdoor while you're wet. And you know without a doubt Heinz was absolutely lying to you. He wanted to keep you there. And you, in the back of your mind, you think, you know this because that's what you would do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Is it-
uh-huh.
Could he
We're
have
good.
been saying that because he knew we needed time to get through here? Because he's already lived it.
Raw, honestly, that makes sense, because if we, in iteration 1, are upstairs, he wouldn't want us to go down to downstairs until we
They
were
wanted
dry.
us to wait.
He would want us to wait so that we, right now, could get through the portal before they come back down to go through the portal when they're dry. So, yeah, Oak puts 2 and 2 together. We're good. We're good. Trust me. I don't know why I know it, but we're good. Okay? Right now, they're upstairs warming up with blankets and cocoa. We are down here. We gotta go. And I think
Rosie-
Oak,
Go.
Oak would
No.
be the first person through, like, as opposed to the way the iteration was last time, him wanting to be the last person out. Because he
Well,
knows this,
At
he
this
would like to
point,
be the first person.
Laz has opened the facade, and you do see the green weathered trapdoor with the brass handle. It's got like a pull ring in the hinges in the floor. So you're rushing forward, Oak, to open this door.
I would get there, but then I think I would look to Anne. And I would just look at her and say, look, you have one choice here. One. We go through this. There's no going back. You make this choice, it changes things. And I don't know how. So, just know that. Choose not to save her heir. That's on you. Because I know I'd be saving her if I were you. And he'll pull the trapdoor and he'll start going through it.
Oak.
I imagine that Anne is like right behind Oak as like there as Oak about Oak
Oh
goes
yeah,
through it.
because you would probably want to get out of there as soon as humanly possible, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Anne takes a beat after hearing what Oak had said, and she just pauses, and like this like really like this sneer almost, this like her mouth down, like turns down, as she says, "No one is me," as she goes through the portal.
Wow.
Wow.
I would follow right after.
Oak and Billy.
Laz is like kneeling next to it, like leaning, pulling onto like some of the like the fishing netting that's kind of like draped over part of these crates. He's kind of like holding onto that to help people like down into the trap door. So he's staying where he is, kind of on his knees for the moment.
I would urge Coop. I'd be like, Coop, you go ahead.
We can't go yet. And Coop goes running to the front door.
Wait,
and
what? Why? Stop.
Opens it.
No, Coop, why? Stop.
Come on.
You open the door.
Flinging open doors. Yeah.
You open the door and the
what
wind
could possibly go wrong?
The wind catches it and slams it open. And you see that already pieces of the Evangeline are starting to wash up on the shore. You see in the lightning, you see crates and barrels, big pieces of the ship. And you're not positive, but you think you might even see a couple of bodies lying on the ground.
Where's Jessica? Is she's not standing there anymore?
You do not see Jessica, and you do not see any of the myriad Jessicas.
You don't see Jessica or Jessica's at all.
Oh no. And Coop doesn't even bother getting the door. He goes back inside. What is it?
Well,
he goes back inside, looks at Rosie and Laz, and says, "We couldn't save her. She's not there."
Does Claire go through?
I think when Rosie was starting to usher Coop, and while Coop runs to the door, I think Claire is just like, well, and absolutely reaches over to take Laz's hand and let him help her down in through the hatch. And as you're helping her down, Laz, Claire's just going, "Please wake up, please wake up, please wake up, please wake up."
When Coop says
we're not in Kansas anymore.
That dude, wow, real quick, the Wizard of Oz references woven throughout. Well done. I mean, fucking astounding. When Coop says though we couldn't save her, Rosie kind of like, for a second she looks sad, and then you can kind of see her like her face just kind of like gets hard, sort of, and she just like, "Go ahead through the trapdoor, Coop."
Coop, maybe Jessica's still like, you know, in a mirror or something. I doubt it's the last time that we're going to see her.
I hope so. I can't believe that Anne left her behind.
I think.
Okay.
I think some of you. Nope, never mind. Sorry, I'm not gonna. This is one of those things where I'm almost telling you something that I just want to let you guys remember things on your own.
Go on,
Nope.
Jay. What?
No.
As Coop is waxing philosophic, Rosie finally does just turn around and be like, "Coop, get your ass through the trapdoor right now!"
Okay, I'm going. Laz, I hope you don't end up with more white hair.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not.
What's going on? What happened?
Nothing. It's fine. And Rosie would like jump down through the trapdoor.
Laz kind of shrugs. This place sucks. And he lowers himself down inside.
Awesome.
And as you lower yourself down inside, do you reach up and pull the door closed, or do you leave it open, the trap door?
No, if I was the last one, I'll shut it behind me.
You pull the trap door closed behind you, and as the trap door closes, the facade is still left unlatched and partially ajar. And the camera just sits there, looking at this trapdoor. And then we hear wet footsteps. And then a hand reaches over and pushes the facade closed until it latches. And we hear a sigh. The camera pans up. And we see Chrissy. Soaking wet, disheveled. She glances upstairs where we can just hear the faint voices of Oak and Billy and Coop and the others, along with Hines. And she takes a deep breath. She walks outside, and this time the camera follows her. She closes the door. She looks towards the woods. She glances up at the lighthouse. And then she walks across the beach. It's still storming and raining. Pieces of the ship are still washing up on shore. We can see a couple of bodies as she walks past them. We see her walk past the unconscious body of Shakiti and Edouard Detroit, Sauvage. She walks over to where Ingrid is lying unconscious. She looks around, takes one more look up at the lighthouse. And then she settles down onto the ground and lays back as if going to sleep.
Oh.
And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Wow. Consider my mind bent. Holy shit.
Amazing.
Ooh.
There was a lot that just happened in a relatively small amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in game time, that was about 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was a really short period of time. This is what you would call almost like a bottle episode of a sitcom where it's essentially almost real time if you stripped away all of our narrative stuff, and all happening at one place. You could almost envision this entire episode playing out in one continuous camera shot.
Oh.
I apologize, and then at the same time not apologize for entering this chaos, into the episode.
You should
No,
be
you didn't-
apologizing
I mean, you
for,
didn't really do
siding
it.
with Anne.
I chose Jessica's appearance narratively based on what was happening. It could have been minutes or tens of minutes or whatever later. Jessica was appearing in this episode. There's no doubt about that. There are things, I will say, as always, there are things that happened tonight that were orchestrated, and there were things that happened tonight because improv and dice and the scenes you guys set up. So there were things that surprised even me. But that's, as always, that's the fun of this game.
Yeah.
I could not have predicted exactly where this was going to go. I definitely did not think you guys were going to go into the lighthouse. But also it makes sense that you went into the lighthouse.
Panicked.
Yeah.
We need to get out of here now. Not later. Now.
But
You sent an army of water Jessica.
Wet
by the way,
Jessicas.
whoever said Wetsica, I hate that word. I don't know why, but I do not like that word. That's up there with like moist. I don't like
I
Wetsica.
missed the impost.
I don't like Wetsica either.
What was that, Jeremy?
I missed that M posted it like 2 lines above me.
Oh, you
I
guys
just now saw
both
that.
posted it. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh
Almost
man.
exactly the same thing.
Whenever one of us puns in the side chat, the next like 10 are just like like following up.
It's not like we spent a lot of time
Oh,
around each
man.
other.
No, this was great.
Oh God, wonderful.
I'll be honest. At the end there were a couple things that were running through my mind.
You almost gave away some story secrets there, Mr.
no.
Man.
So I'll tell you now what it was that I was going to remind you of, because it's not a secret. But
Post-credits
in the
scene?
moment, I didn't want you to lean one way or the other. But in the original timeline, Jessica wakes up in the morning on the beach with Dwight the cat, and Shakiti tells her, "Hey, your friends are in there." And she goes into the lighthouse, and then you guys are reunited from that point on and do everything together. It's
that's actually perfect.
We've talked about, but we didn't talk with the audience. So this is sort of that little peek behind the curtain. Some of the things that happened in the original episode feel like we set them up for this. You know, at this point, like 40 some episodes ago, as if we could anticipate where we would be at that time. I didn't even know there was going to be a second season.
We can't see the future,
Yeah.
so
So
it wasn't that way.
The fact that Heinz said don't go outside played perfectly into the fact that you guys were outside. The fact that he told you not to go through the trap door because you're wet and kept you from going through the trap door until later you guys all go upstairs. The fact that Jessica was not inside, nor was Laz. They were both, because Jeremy and M couldn't be there for a couple different sessions, there were placeholder things or things in world that happened. So Jessica not being present in the timeline at that point sort of makes sense why she was on the beach and confused and not knowing what's happening. It's just interesting how things that happened played perfectly into just where we landed in the story.
Yeah, but Jake, it's stuff like this that makes people think that this is a scripted show.
That's fair.
There's no way
That's
anybody
true.
could think this is scripted.
We're just really good at this.
Oh man, no, it's one of my favorite things about this story and this group is just the way we buy into every moment.
Well, it's also a scenario of, if you're going to decide to muck around with time, then you use that to, like, okay, well, I don't know if I'm going to come back to this scene from another angle. So if I put in these kinds of things, you can make notes and say, okay, well, for this time frame, if we come back to it, here's these things that can be used. And we've got the ability that everything's up on YouTube, so you can go and look at it later and be like, all right, how can I use these nuggets, later?
Yeah, and it was because of Tomiko's extensive notes that we were able to kind of look through the notes and recognize those moments and be like, hey, wait a minute. I'm absolutely in love the fact that, not knowing where things were going to go, one, Anne, you had to react to Billy basically outing you, at least to himself, but nobody anticipated the appearance of Jessica to throw that into the works, and now all of a sudden, Anne, this comfort in place that you had, that you were so carefully protecting, has now been disrupted right before you guys jump into a hatch to who knows where or when. So I've got a week to figure out the where and when. I've got some ideas, because even I don't know where you guys are yet. I haven't made that decision. So huge thank you as always to everybody that hangs out with us in the chat, whether you're watching with us live, you're lurking quietly in the background, or watching on VOD later. We appreciate you. I love seeing the activity in the chat. I love the comments on YouTube, or just seeing that people are liking the video and enjoying it. so keep doing that. You go over to youtube.com/mini terrain domain. You can see all of our VODs over there for this and other shows. On Monday will be episode 101 of Scribes and Scrolls as we continue the final countdown to the last couple of episodes before we wrap that campaign for good. And then this Tuesday will also be the next session of Sky Metal Iron Gods, which is our every other Tuesday D&D game that's happening over there. And at an undetermined Friday in the future, you can find Ted and I over on Nerdarchy for the next Old Guard. It'll be even longer because we didn't get to play last time, unfortunately, when we were scheduled. But rest assured, we'll be back. We're all too old for this shit, but we're still doing it anyway. So if you want to know what we're talking about, tune in for that. And of course, as always, a huge well, Carrie, I did tease that there was something coming up. I guess I didn't tease it here. Carrie just sent me a message on Zoom. I'll go ahead and I'll tease it here at the tail end for anybody that's still sticking around. When Scribes and Scrolls ends, we already have a new Pathfinder campaign that's in the early stages. We will probably later in the summer we will be launching a new Monday night campaign set in Galarian. It's an official adventure path from Paizo. So rest assured, when Scribes and Scrolls ends, it won't be long before we have a whole new adventure with a whole new group of adventurers, and you might even see a couple people from this window right here in that game. Carrie, Tamiko. So stay tuned for more information about that. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and say a final thank you to these incredible players that make this game as awesome as it is. Thank you to the amazing friendship, talents, and just dedication to Chad, Tamiko, Carrie, Ted, Jeremy, and Em, without whom this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end the stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want.
I want my $2.